So we've looked at bringing in CSV files, text files. We've looked at bringing in database tables. Now I want to look at bringing in Excel data into Excel from other Excel files. We looked at the fact that we could get data from within the Power Pivot editor, but we can also get data just by using the Data tab in the ribbon. And this is actually my preference. I'm going to go to data, I'm going to go to get data from file, and here's how I get data from an Excel workbook. So I click this option. I have a number of spreadsheets here, so I'm just going to start with categories because it's at the top and click the import button. A connection is made, and at this point I need to choose, do I want to bring in what's in the sheet or do I want to bring in what's in the table? And that is presuming that the data has been formatted as a table. I'm just going to bring in the sheet in each instance and I'll go load. And that will simply bring in the data from that particular Excel file. And I can see the connection here. Now what I'm going to do is bring in another file. So I'll go to data, get data from file, from workbook, and I'm going to bring in customers and import. Here I can see the customers table or sheet 1. And sheet 1 I can see here has got the column headings acting as a row. So I'm actually going to choose this one because here the column headings are column headings. So I'm going to go load. And that'll bring in another sheet into my Excel file. I'm now going to get some more data, and that's the employees file. If I click on this one here, that's the sheet, everything looks fine. If I click here, everything looks fine. So I could choose either, but I'll go with the sheet and load. I'm now going to bring in order details, data, get data, from file, from workbook, and I'm going to bring in a number of these files, order details, orders, products, shippers, and suppliers. So I'll just race off and do that for you. Okay, so I've just finished loading my last Excel file called suppliers. I can see in my queries and connections pane that there are a number of files that have been loaded. I can also see down here that there are a number of sheets with data in them. So that all the data from the various files has been loaded into Excel. Order details being my largest file with 2,155 rows, and shippers being my smallest file with just 3 rows loaded. Now just because I've loaded or I've got the data and brought it into this Excel file does not mean it's been added to the Power Pivot data model. So that's my next action. I'm going to go to Power Pivot and I'm going to go to the first sheet suppliers and I'm going to add it to my data model. It prepares and brings in the suppliers, and so that table or file has now been added to my data model and I can switch back to Excel. If I click on shippers, I can add that to my data model. There it is there. If I go back to Excel, I can choose products and add that to my data model. And I really need you to add each one of those files to your data model. Now, one of the suggestions I've made is if you can see them side by side, it makes it a lot easier to add them to your data model. But for ease of seeing, I'm not going to put them side by side. I'm just going to go through and add each one. So I've successfully managed to bring in all the Excel files I needed, and I've successfully managed to add all the Excel files to the data model. So let's just have a look. If I go into Manage and I go into here, I can see they've all been added.